Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Where my dogs at? Brother, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
I just had to start my day with that, Wes. Coach Paul gets me fired up. Justin Jarrett here along with Wes Kerr on another edition of Lowco Gameday Live. And I'm a little jelly. I got a little FOMO that I'm not going to be on the sidelines tonight, but I'm going to have the unique perspective of sitting in a hotel room in Orlando where I get to, check in on the Buford's own live stream of Buford versus Bluffton and check in on, I saw there's going to be a live audio stream of Brooklyn Casey Hampton County, which is a really interesting game tonight. We'll, of course, have WHHI, their team over at Battery Creek Whale Branch, and I think they also have a camera out at Butte Academy Hilton Head Christian where you'll be. So we're going to have lots of eyes and ears out there, and I'll be the eye in the sky from Florida running point, and we'll reconvene at 11:30 tonight and talk about everything that happens on another episode of Loco Friday Night, baby. We're here. We made it to Friday. Now we get to watch some football and talk about it. And I'm really excited, Wes. I'm pumped to see what happens tonight. We got some really fun matchups.
Yeah, it's a great slate as we, wrap up non-region play for most of our teams. We get into Region 7-4A and straight all the way into some big games coming up to determine playoff seeding next week. But this is a big weekend in of itself. You get the opportunity for some local on local rivalries. And we don't really have, it's not like in college football where you have a set rivalry week, but this kind of feels like it because we have a lot of games where, these teams know each other well. Of course, Battery Creek Whale Branch, the best example of that, but Buford Bluffton, those are two teams that used to be in the same region. They know each other very well. Hilton Head Christian, Buford Academy. I mean, it seems like BA has been knocking the door of getting that big win against the Eagles. I think the HHA Eagles, but yeah, I thought a few weeks ago, I thought BA was looking at a better team, but all of a sudden, here comes Hilton Head Christian taking out a very good Northwood team on the road after being a really good Ben Lippin squad. So Hilton Head Christian's rolling. Of course, BA is undefeated, so I cannot wait to get over the cage and watch that one. Should be a fantastic matchup. And then, and not necessarily a rivalry, but another great game, Hampton County over at Brooklyn Casey. We just saw that electric intro over there, but the Canes will be taking it on the road this week against a very underrated Brooklyn Casey squad. So that is going to be a fascinating matchup as well. And we've got some other interesting Skeeza games across the slate. But, it's fun to see these rivalries, these teams that, have some bad taste for each other. But at the end of the day, of course, we're all rooting for each other. We're all loco strong. But it's nice to have that, brother against brother kind of rivalry. And this week we're taking it literally, aren't we, with brother against brother?
Literally. Yeah, we got Dayon versus Danye Brown, although Danye won't be on the field tonight, unfortunately. But if you missed it last night on the lowdown, we had Royana Hayes on. She's the mother of both Danye and Dayon Brown, who play for Battery Creek and Whale Branch, respectively. So last year she had the split jersey, and tonight she's got a shirt she had designed. And we're getting some love from our Hurricanes fans, Treese Garvin Williams and Katracy Goodman, giving love to the Canes. We love the Canes. We love the Canes. We had Coach Hannah on last night. We went through all the dog photos, had a good time with that. They're just having a great time up there, and it's easy to have fun when you're winning, but it's fun to be around. And so we'll definitely, I intend definitely to get back out to Hampton County, back out to Varnville before this season is done. And I think we'll have plenty of opportunities in the playoffs. They've got H's. We got H's up until if they win the region, which is no easy task. But some other games on tap tonight. You mentioned Battery Creek Whale Branch. That's a fun one. Buford at Bluffton is really interesting. Good defense versus offense matchup there. Colleton County at Woodland. That's another one. That's a backyard game too. Woodland's just up the road from Colleton County. So there's going to be some intensity in that one for sure. Woodland's a good team, but Colleton has shown a little something too. May River at Cane Bay is interesting. Okay, we get to play a little transitive property game there because Buford played Cane Bay earlier, and May River played Cane Bay close, or Buford close. So It should be like reasonably competitive,
Yep.
but yeah, should be fun.
Things can change.
Hampton and Brooklyn Casey's really interesting. Ridgeland at Bethune-Bowman is an interesting one. That's one that you think the Jags got a good shot to go on the road and get a W.
A lot of competitive
they'll need to play well, but yeah, not a lot of potential blowouts on the board there. And then over on the Skeeza side, we got Buford Academy at Hilton Head Christian, as we mentioned. Hilton Head Prep at PD, which is far more interesting than you would have thought going into the season. PD has struggled a little bit. And Hilton Head Prep played pretty well last week. AJ Barger, we shouted him out last night, had a great game. If they can hang in early, they might have a shot. JP2 at Florence Christian, the report is that Christian Tilton practiced. The report as of yesterday was he had practiced the previous 2 days and was on track to play and feeling good. So look out. So I like JP2's chances in that game on the road. Colleton Prep at Spartanburg Christian. Don't know much about Spartanburg, but Colleton Prep's a good football team and getting better. Weird deal last week with Memorial walking off the field after a quarter and whatever happened there. Lee Academy at Cross. Don't need to pay too much attention there. Lee's really good, and Cross is trying to figure it out. Patrick Henry at Clarendon Hall. That is there's some bad blood there, I think. I don't think they get along terribly well going back to like the 8-man day. So that'll be interesting, but we'll see what Stricklander says in the comments. He said he can't call in, but he'll hit us in the comments. I told him that's great because that way we can throw jabs at him that he can't defend. So and then he said he was send the plague of frogs. Oh, he's got Pats by 90. He said if we threw jabs at him, he'll send the plague of frogs. And let me show you what he means by that, because we have video evidence of the plague of frogs at the farm at Patrick Henry. This is very relevant to your interests. This is relevant to your interests as soon as my computer cooperates. There are many frogs at the farm. My computer's not cooperating, but there is video evidence of the frog. Oh, here it is. Frog invasion at the farm. That's
Look at this.
Look at this.
I can't get my camera zoom in.
Stricklander on the video here. We got we're wilding out in Hampton County. Look at all these frogs, dude. That's a lot of frogs. So beware the frogs, beware the Pats. Clarendon Hall tonight. They might bring some frogs with them. So that's the rundown. And then Holy Trinity has one too. But I don't have it on my list in front of me. But Holy Trinity's playing well in 8-man. They've won 3 in a row. So
yeah,
you're headed to BAHHCA. What else you like this week?
Yeah, I'm interested in a couple of these games on the schedule. Buford Bluffton, as you mentioned, should be a very intriguing one. That Buford defense is playing really well. Bluffton, they figured out some things offensively. I like what Owen Bays has done. I just like the way that Buford's D is playing with that physicality and how they showed themselves against May River. I think that Buford squad will win out and what should be another competitive game for the Eagles. And I think Whalebridge should have this one locked. You never know with the rivalry, but it's just been clinical the way the Warriors so far have executed, especially that ground attack through 3 games. So I just don't see Battery Creek continually stopping them. So I think Whalebridge should roll at home. And you mentioned a couple of interesting ones. I'd love to see Hilton and Prep get PD Academy. I think there is a way for them to do it. PD is certainly down, and I think it was good to see them compete against First Baptist. So, if Dustin Etheridge's squad brings that same kind of energy on the road and AJ Barter continues to execute out there, I definitely could see Prep making a game out of this. And then you look down at some of these other games. Ridgeland, Bethune, Bowman. That was another interesting one. Ridgeland's always a tough team to play. They're scrappy. Just that chip on their shoulder that we've seen with Rodney Barr and that squad. So, I'd love to see Ridgeland stay, competitive and look to try to stun them and pull it out on the road. May River Gameday, that's a good litmus test for the Sharks heading into region play. That's a solid Gameday squad that beat Buford, and that's kind of a measuring stick kind of game for a May River team that I think has really improved since August. They gave Buford a really tough. That was a really impressive. Even though they didn't win, that was a very impressive road effort. Yeah. What they're able to do to slow down Buford defensively, and then fight and crawl to take the lead, and then stay right there until the very end, that fourth quarter. So, they've shown that they're a team that can go on the road and challenge a tough opponent. Expect the same thing over at Cane Bay for the Sharks. And then JP2, I think if Christian Tilton plays, it's kind of a down year so far for Florence Christian compared to what we've seen. One of the Huntley brothers is still there, from my knowledge, but it's certainly not as talented as a team as we saw last year. So if Tilton can come back, this could be a potentially fun shootout kind of game. I think for JP2, you got to really step it up defensively. I liked a lot of what they did on the offensive side, and they found a lot of new guys that kind of clicked. Carrying the ball and then just showing off a couple different looks on the offensive side. So I like what they're doing on that side of the ball. The defense is going to have to make some more tackles and just play a more fundamentally sound game on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and we got a comment from Stricklander who says Skiza's got to have the worst road trips. Yeah, well, that's because they make the schedule for you. You don't get to pick your road trips. You get whatever they give you. And, a lot of these places are out in the country, and there ain't no way to get there, but terrible roads. So, yeah, it takes a long time to get there. You're going through the backwoods. But, yeah, Skiza, bad road trips. Let people make their schedules, and then it might not be as bad. But speaking of which, Carlton Prep going to Spartanburg Christian. Ugh. That's a long ways. Even going all the way up to Florence, that's not a lot of fun, but at least it's just 95. But you got to get on 26, and you got to go all the way past Columbia. Dude, you're not having a good time. That's no fun. But we have a friend waiting for us in the green room. So let's shout out some sponsors real quick, and then we'll get them in here. MVP sponsors so far this season, always looking to add to the roster. We've got my wife, Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of Lowco Sports. She's an agent with the Pierce Group of eXp Realty, and she's ready to help you find your place in the Lowco, whether it's a starter home, a forever home, an investment property, a condo, retirement community. We got Margaritaville blowing up out here. We got Sun City. We got the Haven. We got whatever you're looking for in a retirement community, we got it. So come on down to the Lowco, join all the people who, in our grocery stores who make things interesting every day, and become a part of our community. And when it's time to seal the deal, or before we seal the deal, we're going to make sure that our friends at Homegrown Home Inspections take a look at that house and make sure it's a good investment for you. My guy Jan was just trying to call me right before I went live, so I got to see what he needs. But Jan's doing great work out in our community, making sure that home buyers are getting a great home that's going to go with them through the years and be an investment in their future here in the Lowco. And when it's time to seal the deal on paper, we will call on the Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate closing attorneys of Lowco Sports, and our OG sponsors from way back in 2017, still with us, and appreciate their support and their willingness to see the vision that we have for what Lowco Sports can be for our community and support it from the very beginning. So when you have legal needs, call on Mickelson Law Firm, our MVP sponsor. And finally, Hospice Care of the Low Country. Just saw my buddy James Dismond, the CEO, this morning, and he told a great testimonial story about a patient who was referred to hospice. He had, terminal cancer diagnosis and was expected to live for just a few more months. And he opted for palliative care instead of hospice at that time. And he's been alive for 14 months since that day, and is now ready to transition to hospice and has, a diagnosis of 4 more months to go. So he's been able to extend his life by a lot and get a lot more value out of it at the end of life. And that's what it's all about at Hospice Care of the Low Country and Palliative Care of the Low Country. It's not about dying. It's about living and getting the most out of those last days. So love what they're doing in our community. Please support them. They have a big event coming up, Harmonious, October 12th, Under the Stars at Harbortown. They're going to have a live jazz concert and all kinds of great food and drinks. So be sure to support that if you are able. And let's get into the green room. We got a couple buddies hanging out. Let's get them both in here. We got Jimmy Searson and we got Sammy Dubs coming into the party. Let me switch my thing there so we can see y'all. There we go. Welcome, gentlemen. Jimmy, let me get to you first. You're a working man. Sam's a lawyer. He doesn't have nothing to do. It's Friday. Jimmy, your Eagles, they've been putting some gray hairs on you or making some fall out lately, because every game is tight going to the fourth quarter, but they managed to win the last 3. So how you feeling going into this game against Bluffton tonight?
I'm feeling good, but yeah, you're right. These last 3 games or so, it's been heart attack games. But Buford's been playing, better in the second half and been able to pull out these wins. But Yeah, I'm hoping to see a game where Buford could win by at least 2 or 3 touchdowns soon.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice on the cardiac system, because these last few weeks it has been tooth and nail in the fourth quarter. A couple of really nice wins though over a couple of solid squats in Hilton Head, and then you go over and beat Goose Creek on the road, and then you come back home to Edgemay River. So now another tough one coming up against Bluffton. We've heard a lot from you about Buford, but tell me a little about this Bluffton team and what kind of scares you the most about the Bobcats.
Yeah, I watched some highlights of Bluffton and seen some of their games, online. And Owen Bays, he's impressed me. I know he transferred from Hilton Head. So, Bluffton picked up a good quarterback. Owen Bays looks pretty good throwing the football and, making good decisions on either handing the ball off to his good running backs or either throwing the ball. But Bays has really impressed me this year. And Bluffton, they're looking a whole lot better than they have the last couple of years, I think, anyway.
I totally agree with that.
Sammy Dubs, you got anything to add to that? I know you're, you got some guys you coached back in the day on that Bluffton team, so I know you got some love over there with like Brandon Bryant and Carnell, and that offense is definitely fun. I mean, it's you talk about system quarterbacks and things like that, and I think there's a danger of kind of that label getting put on Bluffton guys because they like the big, tall guy who can, just make a read at the line and sling it around, and it feels kind of like an old Texas Tech or something. But I like the way Bays has slotted in there, and I like all the weapons they have over there. And I know you're excited to see them on offense.
Oh yeah, they have a lot of weapons, and I'm more excited probably with Timko. Not Timko, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. My running back.
Well, Curry's been running it a good bit. He's
Jake
been
Ridgway has
phenomenal.
Jake Ridgway.
Yeah.
I drew a blank right there.
Yeah, me too.
He'll be the key tonight, though. I think balancing the pass game with the run game will be crucial because everybody knows they have the weapons. Brandon, they can throw the ball around the yard if they want to. But I think they'll need a balance with the running game. And I think that'll make the big difference tonight. If they can get the run game going, they have something.
Yeah, they got to get that going because they got to make Buford respect it. If Buford can just play them on the edges, then they can match up okay out there. Although I don't know if Camacho's back. That's. Do you know much about that, Jimmy? That Camacho injury is a pretty big loss on defense. Yeah. He's so good at corner.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything yet, but I'm hoping he'll come back soon. But Camacho, he's one of the leaders of the defense, and Buford really needs him to come back. So I wish him a speedy recovery, and I hope he comes back soon.
I thought Aaron Days played pretty well at that one corner last week, though. It looked like from what I saw on film. Yeah, they're solid on defense. Did a good job. They're solid on defense. I think Bluffton has to, get in the end zone a couple times early. They need to kind of try to make it a shootout, and Buford wants to play, it's kind of, a low-scoring game. How they like,
It's contrasting styles. Buford's more
absolutely
that tight physical defensive team, and Bluffton's, more that run and gun type style of team that wants to get at you and put points on the board and kind of go guns blazing on offense. So it's much different styles compared to each other. So I'm excited to see kind of which side wins out. But and in terms of that, historically, I seem to always go defense, and I like the way Buford's playing all around defensively. Although that secondary does take a hit with Camacho. You did mention someone who had a big game the other night in that on that part of the defensive side. Jimmy, tell me about some other players that have caught your eye on defense. Obviously, Will Cotton we had, who's been a beast, and just take me through a couple of defensive stars that have really turned the corner as we get ready for tonight and the region play.
Yeah, I know we need Will Cotting to step up. He's been the leader with Camacho out. But Buford's defensive line, I mean, the whole line's been impressing me lately. They've been doing a good job getting off their blocks lately and getting to the quarterback. These last couple games, against May River and Goose Creek, Buford's defensive linemen, I mean, they've looked really good getting off their blocks and getting to the quarterback. So that's going to be a big key this week to get the Bays. But that's what I've been telling everybody. Yeah, they need to put pressure on Bays to win this game. If not, if they let Bays get loose, then this might be a long night for the Eagles. But that's the key on defense.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can't give him enough time to think. You got to make him pull the trigger quick.
And I want to see a couple things. I want to see Buford play a smooth game. 4 quarters of smooth football. It's been really jerky with the quarterback play, and then with the running game too. It's just been herky jerky. It starts and stops. You know what I mean? And I want to see if they can put together a smooth 4 quarters of football. And then on the other side, I want to see if Bluffton can do 4 quarters of smash mouth football. Now I've seen them be tough when they played. What was it, Jenkins? They played the first 2 to 3 quarters tough, and then they went more to the finesse game, and it kind of fell apart at that point. So I want to see if they're able to take a punch, give a punch for 4 quarters, and see what happens then.
I like
because that's what Buford relies on. Buford relies on that you'll drop your guard in the 4th quarter because you're tired, and we're gonna beat you up. And so they gotta be mentally tough and play all the way through. What were you saying, Wes?
I really like what I saw from Jake Ridgway in terms of a power running back, because when you have a guy who can pick up some good chunks of yards on first down, even on second down, and put yourself in a good spot offensively like that, the defense is going to have to respect it. So I like the way that I thought it was going to be more of a Ethan Golphin at running back, but he's kind of transitioned as more of a systematic wideout. And now you have your workhorse running back in Ridgeway.
Curry is a nice punch over there too.
Yes. But Ridgeway's a guy they kind of didn't use us more.
Ridgeway's like the workhorse, and Curry's the guy that you pop him in there and they go, uh-oh, and then they don't know what's coming. And
all this to say is that I'm impressed with what Hayden Gregory's done to make use of some of these guys. And I think, there's coaching has a lot to do with the success in the field and just how we saw it with Buford, how they unlocked something when they put Casey Fields in the backfield. It's a big part of what makes these teams successful. And I just remember a year ago when Casey Fields went off for 304 rushing yards or whatever it was, but that was kind of the breakout game. I got to see it in person. But I'm saying coaching is a big part of it, and Hayden Gregory always seems to put the right guys in the right places.
Creativity. Yeah. It's creativity and vision. Like he can see he can break it down to the tools that are there and figure out where else they might fit, where there's a need, and I think Bryce Laburn does a terrific job of that, moving pieces around and recognizing that you got a football player who's an athlete. Like, we don't need to put him in this box. Like, let's let him just go do what he can do wherever we need him to do it. So, no, I love that. Let's talk about some other games, though, guys. What Jimmy and Jimmy, you got some Colleton County and Colleton Prep insights since you live up in Walterboro. So, what do you think about their games tonight? You got Colleton County at Woodland, Colleton Prep at Spartanburg Christian. That was a weird deal at Colleton Prep last week.
Yeah, I seen the videos and heard about Colleton Prep, but what you were talking about earlier about the SCISA teams traveling to far places. My daughter cheers for Colleton Prep's middle school team, and they played all the way at Williamsburg Academy last night. So we went up there to King Street, and we got that late from that. But it was a late night last night. But the middle school team pulled out a 22-20 victory. But it was a nice game. But going to the varsity, Colleton Prep, they make that long trip to Spartanburg. But I think they're going to pull out the win from what I've seen on Spartanburg. I would say Colleton Prep's got the little edge in this game. It might be close, but I think Colleton Prep's going to pull out the win. And then the Colleton County game, they got playmakers on that team. The Cougars do. But I think Woodland, Yeah, they do. Yeah, Woodland's got a good football team though. And they're always tough. So I hate to say it, I want the Cougars to win, but I think Woodland's gonna pull out the victory by, I don't know, I'll say at least by 10 points if I had to say.
That's fair.
But
That's
I'm going
fair.
for the Cougars.
Man, the Cougars have played a murderer's row of a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Brutal. They played Hampton, Whitenoll, Ashley Ridge, and then they got a money with North Charleston. But now they're right back at it with Woodland. It's like, holy cow! Kinloch didn't get any favors from the previous regime with that schedule. That was huge. That was huge. And we talked with Kinloch, and then Sam and I talked with him again on the phone later that night. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it, man. He's doing it.
He'll be okay. He'll be okay.
He's in it. He's everything he's doing is with a purpose and for the kids, and that's what I needed to hear.
Yeah, I like Kinloch. Like I told you, I talked to him a couple times. I think he's going to do a good job with the Cougars. But I hope to see them pull out the win tonight. But yeah, I think it's going to be tough against Woodland now.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that's a tough one. Sammy, what else are you looking at? Well, you know May River well, of course, because you were in that thing for a few years. So May River at Gameday tonight. Tough outing on the road, but we've seen some mettle from these guys. They played really tough at Beaufort last week.
Right, and I think this will be a good test for their offensive line. May River's known for their offensive line, and if they're gonna stick with what they've been doing, now's the time to see if it's gonna work or not. They've tried to pass it a little bit more. With mixed success. But that running game, they got to tie that down and get that offensive line, that nasty streak that they typically have. And I haven't seen that yet. Well, I saw it against, lesser opponents. But I want to see them, take a step up in weight class and see if they can push some people around. Because they've been able to do that in the past against 5A teams and 4A teams with much smaller players. So I want to see if they can get that attitude going again tonight. And getting ready for region play.
Yeah, I'm looking at Garrett Andy, who's a beast on the defensive line for Gameday. That's going to be a telling sign of what this team can produce offensively. When you get into some of these teams with the Shane Whitakers, the Shike Thompsons, and then you look at James Allen and Lucy Beckham, who are also very stout defensively. So
Nick Williams at Colleton County is a monster too. They got some monsters over there on defense too.
Yes.
Monster. Yeah, no, you're right. This will be a good test for them. We'll see, little bit of a stress test. And I think they passed a pretty good test last week with the way they competed with Beaufort as far as the physicality goes. And this will be probably another little step up because Gameday wore down Beaufort in the fourth quarter. So, this is a physical, deep team that you're going to have to – May River will try to shorten the game and all that stuff. So, it should be an interesting one, though. And then we got Hampton County, Brooklyn Casey, Sammy. We got to see Hampton County last week in person. You a believer now?
I am. Well, I still know.
Yes and no?
I still have some questions. I think Bybee had a historically bad night.
He did have a
lot of that I'll put on Hampton County's defense. A lot of it was just self-inflicted wounds. So I'm not really sure he wasn't at his best last week. But I think a couple adjustments for Hampton County, and I think they can make a very good run into. There are some things they need to adjust.
They were down 2 starting offensive linemen in that game, and still, did a pretty good job of running the ball. I think Chris Terry also had. I think both quarterbacks were a little hyped up, a little too. Running a little too hot to start the game, and they both had a hard time getting in the rhythm. Defense got after them a little bit, and they were just a little rattled. But I do think that the offensive line will solidify as they get guys back. But Hannah was really impressed with the way they played, considering that you got number 6 and number 7 out there on the depth chart. That's pretty good stuff. So I think defensively, like Malachi Green came back this week. Lowco, he had like 14 tackles. That's a huge addition to solidify that side. And I've been waiting for the Xavier Garvin show on offense to take off. And like Coach said last night, he's not been 100% healthy. This week was the first time he really felt good cutting on his ankle. And we saw what that adds when they've got that element that they can inject when they need it. It's like, holy cow. But I love the way that defense plays. You're good. Like, they don't have to score very many points to win most of the time.
They don't.
I mean, other than the Emerald game, they've held everyone to 10 or less, and that's really impressive. The way they just fly and get after it and put the other team behind the sticks. It's just been clinical so far. And even against a team like Hilton Head, coming in with a strong running back in Troy Timko and a guy who can make some plays in Jackson Bybee, and the way they consistently shut that down and give just 3 points all night. It's a deep defense with some top-end talent as well, and Mandrell Sanders, Kayvon Chisholm. And I think the pieces are there for a deep run. And now it's just a little between solidifying yourself and really getting up the offense to the level you want it to go. And hopefully we'll see more of Xavier Garvin. And then you have to have 2 guys you can trust to run the point at quarterback. And then, of course, you have Zion Dobson, who's turned into one of the premier running backs in the state. And a couple of underrated skill position players who, when the ball gets in their hands, they know what it takes to move the sticks. So it's a really well-oiled team, and the coaching staff has done a tremendous job, and just the overall vibes. It has been really fun to go over there and watch what they have built and developed over there, and it's turned into what could be a special season, and just the energy with the where my dog's at. If you saw the top of the broadcast today. I mean, that is how you push this group of young men forward, and just to create the energy and the whole memes and stuff. It's been done the right way. It's done a playful, which is great, but also they're serious about the chances that they have this year to make something special out of the season, and so far they've done it. So a couple challenging ones ahead, and I'll learn a lot more from what this team can do against a solid 3A squad in Brooklyn Casey tonight.
And dude, that region is going to be so fun. Hampton, Woodland, Barnwell, and then you got Ridgeland on the upswing, and you got Edisto, where the guys from Estill are now, Singleton and Livingston, and they're 4-1. So, like, it's man, like when they get together, Edisto and Hampton, that's going to be a fun game because it's like
whoever comes
those
out of
boys are playing against their former coaches. Like, man, it's going to be fun in that region.
Whoever comes out of that region probably has the best track in the lower state.
I agree.
They will have to go to Oceanside for the lower state championship game. Whoever comes out of that region, and that's what you'd expect to happen,
right? Yeah,
unless
you got to do that.
Unless the second place team, Oceanside has the H.
Okay.
Unless the second place team knocks them off before you get there, which ain't out of the question. The second place team in this region is going to be mad and hungry. So I don't know. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward.
That's a tough region.
It's brutal, dude. It's brutal.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, y'all got a tough one with Philip Simmons coming up. But yeah, what were you going to say about Hampton?
No, Hampton's really impressed me this year. Dobson, man, that's the dude right there. I mean, he's man. But that's going to be a good test against Brooklyn Casey tonight. I've seen some highlights of them, and Brooklyn Casey's got a real good team, so I'm anxious to see that score tonight.
Somehow we're still not ranked in Class 3A, which
Dobson's 3A is crazy good.
It's insane.
Crazy good. Dobson is 68 for 882 for an average of 13 per carry, averaging 176.4 per game, 5 100-yard games out of 5, and 10 touchdowns. Oh, and by the way, also 2 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, that dude.
And you keep scoring every play. Don't get as many carries.
It's unreal. It's unreal. And like Coach said last night, the knock on him, the reason he allegedly hasn't been recruited is because he doesn't have breakaway speed. And it's like, Jerry Hatcher always says about his running backs, like, how many guys you want to watch him run away from before you believe he's got breakaway speed? Like,
you're not running track. We're playing football. We're not running track.
That's right. So, All right. Well, we don't have any other guests at the moment, but let's shout out some sponsors real quick. We got the varsity sponsors. Our roster is short so far, so let's add some more to it. Just $100 a month or $1,000 per year will get you into this level of sponsorship, and you can join great people like DDS Web Design. Our friends Dave and Denise Sinkovich, Yenzers from up Pittsburgh way, came down to Hilton Head to launch phase 2 of their web design business, having great success up in Pittsburgh, and now they're doing it here on the island. They can build you a website that gets you results for your business or nonprofit by putting all the best SEO hacks in there. Make sure that people find your website online and bring you business. Go see them at ddshhi.com. And then you've got the Parker Law Group, our friends out doing legal business across Hampton, Colleton, and Jasper counties. They've been helping folks out there for years, and now they are helping us continue to extend our coverage area and provide great coverage to those counties and shine a light on these deserving teams and athletes that we're talking about every week here on the Lowco Network. So thanks to our varsity sponsors, and if you'd like to join them, send me an email at lowcosports@gmail.com, LOWCO@gmail.com. We'll get you going.
Pittsburgh, how about speaking of Pittsburgh, how about Karmajinsky with a sub-2 ERA with Pirates now?
He's dealing, man. I don't want to talk about it because they just took 2 out of 3 off the Cubby, so I'm kind of mad about it.
Gentlemen, duty calls. I have to step away.
The lawyer's got a law.
I got to do what I got to do. So I will check you guys out tonight, and we'll go over the recap, see what happens.
Appreciate you, bro. Yeah.
All right,
let us know what you see out there. Holla at you later. Goodbye to Sammy Dubs, and then there were 3. You got to work today, Jimmy, or did you take the day off for football?
No, I'm actually off today. It's one of my off days, so I'm glad about that. You know, I don't have to rush and go to the game, so I could take it easy today. So I'm happy about that.
Time to fill out your.
What else we want to talk about, Wessie?
Yeah, we went through a good majority of the games here so far, but talk a little bit more about this Buford squad and just let's look big picture here, because you guys got a big one on tap early in the region schedule. You have Philip Simmons, so just obviously it's a week away. You don't want to look ahead. You want to take care of Bluffton, and then
he can. He doesn't have to play. He doesn't have to play. He can look ahead.
That's a good point, but yeah, that's right out of the gate, big region game coming up a week from today, week 6, first region game against the Iron Horses. Have you done some advanced scouting, and have you done some watching of what this Philip Simmons team's looking like this year, because they're hitting the ground running so far 2023?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Wes. Yeah, I have. I admit I've been looking ahead. Philip Simmons plays. I think, who do they play tonight? They play. I forgot who they play tonight, but they should win tonight. I think it's Bishop England. They play Bishop England tonight.
Yep, that's right.
If they win that game, they'll be 6-0. So if Buford beats Bluffton tonight, they'll be 4-2. So I think that'll be the game of the week next week. I've been circling this game, for a while now, and Philip Simmons, they got 2 really good running backs. I know one of them's KJ Asbury, and they love to run the football. Yep. So Buford's going to have their hands full. But, that's going to be the game of the week next week.
Yeah, that's going to be a terrific game. I had that one circled last year. I was a year ahead of schedule. But they were still competitive with y'all last year. But I thought that was going to be a really good game last year, and you guys kind of, overpowered them a little bit. But I think that's a really even, interesting matchup. So I wish you had it at home. But we'll have you there, and you won't be too far from home, so you'll be able to get home to tell us about it after. So it'll be good times.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, we got into most of them, fellas. You want to let's talk a little bit more about Battery Creek and Whale Branch, because hopefully Marcus Walsh will be joining us here shortly to help us discuss that one. He'll be on the call tonight, but I know he had a couple errands to run, and not sure if he's going to make it on. Matt Smith wants to know if I'm taking Hilton Head Christian and the points. I don't know what the spread is, so I can't answer that question. But if Hilton Christian's getting points at home, then yeah, I'm probably taking them. I mean, I got that as pretty well a toss-up. So if they were getting points at home, I'd probably take them.
I would probably call them favorites at home. I mean, in a neutral matchup, I'll probably still take them anyway. So I would definitely give them a few points on top of that because they're a home team.
I think I'd take
I'd like
BA
Hilton
at
Head Christian
home.
Academy to. I'll take them to cover touchdown or something.
You'll take them to cover. I think I'd take BA at home, but I think I'd take Hilton Head Christian at home too. It's pretty even, and they both have really good home field advantages, you know. So like,
it's one of those games you just give
really good atmospheres. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's kind of a coin flip, but you give that 1.5 bump to the home team like Vegas does, right? So that's probably where I would go with that one. But it's a very interesting matchup because BA, like, the only reason that we've shifted on this is it has nothing to do with BA. They're still who we thought they were. It's just that Hilton Head Christian has ascended to a different level than they showed in the first 2 weeks. So that makes it fun for me because it's like it's not that maybe one of them isn't as good as you thought. It's that, oh, wow, they're both really good. And it took a little longer to realize it about them. So I think it's a great fun game, you know, and I think both of them have a great shot to play at the end of the season at Charleston Southern. So sad that I'll miss it. I'll be on the road up in down in Florida. But that's a good one. Anything else to add there, or any Whale Branch Battery Creek thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm just seeing how Hilton Head Christian's defense plays with some veteran guys out there because BA has just been able to, you know, impose their will and just pick up first down after first down with that ground game, and then you got Dietrich Schuford behind there. So I think this Hilton Head Christian defense will find a way to put a greater challenge to Buford Academy to you know, keep that offensive flow going up there. But I think it should be a very competitive game. I like the way that Hilton Head Christian has responded from some early season adversity, and you know, the way that I mean, Dylan Clark, I still think the ceiling is even higher for what we could see from him moving forward, but he's definitely been better these last few games. It's cool to see, you know, a guy like AJ Hopt become that go-to target because that's someone we didn't really mention a lot going into the year because he wasn't kind of the guy who we obviously Tyshawn Mansell made big news when he had over the Hilton Head Christian, but to see a guy like AJ Hopt to step up in a big game like that on the road, that's cool to see. I'd like to see a little more from their run game. And the offensive line, can they set some blocks against the BA defense? It's been tough, and they've been scrappy on both sides of the ball. And then for Buford Academy, you know, can you control yourself in what's going to be a hostile environment? And they know how important this game is. It's not a region game, but they want to get a victory against Hilton Head Christian, especially at their place. So that would mean a ton to that squad. It almost happened a few years ago, and that was against a really good Hilton Head Christian Academy team. But a lot of those guys who played in that game are going to play in this one, and Devontae Green, Jackson Porter, who, you know, are just going to have that extra motivation and edge to play even better. So I think this one could go either way.
The Schufords had some dogfights with Hilton Head Christian, and then you got the Mansell thing. You know, he was with the Schuford to Hayward. Everybody thought he was going to BA. He was enrolled to BA. He popped up at HHCA. There's like tons of intersecting storylines here. Like it's really fun. And I mean, I think the kids all know each other and get along, but also like don't like each other's schools particularly, and that's kind of rivalry. It's the one where it's like, no, I like you, except for when you're playing for them. Those are the best ones. So because then it's over as soon as the game's over. Right. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that's a little bit what it's like with Whale Branch Battery Creek too. It's like you got a lot of cousins and little brothers, and you know, kids who grew up together and played together their whole lives, and now they're at different schools who are rivals. And it's like, yeah, you want to beat them because that dude's going to be relentless if you don't. So, and you're going to see him everywhere, and you're never going to hear the end of it. So that's what rivalries are all about. And that's up in your neck of the woods, Jim. You pay attention to the Buford area. What do you think about this Creek Whale Branch game?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I keep up with all the local teams. Whale Branch and Battery Creek, you know, that's a big rivalry. Like you said, everybody knows each other. And, you know, Whale Branch split from Battery Creek. So that's a good rivalry game. I would love to see Battery Creek, get their season, turned around and play a good game. But they usually play Well Branch tough. I think Well Branch has got the edge. They got a little bit better athletes, even though the Dolphins have some good athletes. But I'm giving Well Branch the edge in this game. I like Jerry Hatcher, and I like your impression of Jerry Hatcher. I love that. But I think he's a really good coach, and Well Branch, man, they got some dudes over there. But I'm predicting Well Branch is going to beat Battery Creek, even though I would love to see Battery Creek beat them.
It's doable, but man, everything would have to go right.
Yeah,
got to get some big time turnovers and some stops on defense, and then you're going to have to block well, which has not been easy against Bradford Thompson. You got Alonzo Allen back there, so that Well Branch defense has got a lot of weapons at their disposal, and it's just going to be tough for a team that doesn't have as much depth. So don't get me wrong. I like what you're doing over there with Susie and what Terrence Ash has done for that program. And they've been a scrappy group that they almost really get that win over Ridgeland back early in the season. That was a tough loss, but they played Hilton pretty solid in that first game to open the season, and they've had a couple of tough opponents, and they've learned a lot from that. And now in a rivalry game where you can throw the records out the window in a contest where each other really well and you want to get the best of each other. So, I expect a strong physical effort from Battery Creek early on, but I just think Well Branch is going to find a way to wear them down with that strong offensive line. And then, Daryl Cummings in the backfield, AJ Chisholm, who, will have the extra energy to pose their will on that Battery Creek defense and find a way to take this game over. So, I expect Battery Creek to put up a fight, but I do think Well Branch is the more complete football team and should come away with the win to stay unbeaten.
I think so too. Let's see what Coach Hatcher had to say about it. I don't have the full interview here because the audio wasn't what I needed it to be, but let's see what this one sounds like. Got a little clip.
Well, just like I told you over at the deal over at the furniture place over on the highway over there. It's it's when you look at our region, it's tough now. It's tough every week, but we gotta get through them all. But it's at the end there, it's gonna come down to us and Bamberger Earhart. They're saying the same thing. They're looking at the rankings and at the standings and going, it's gonna be Well Branch and it's gonna be Bamberger Earhart and Well Branch, and that's just usually how it goes. It's Well Branch and Bamberger Earhart, and one of us is gonna go on and be the region champ, and we're gonna get to play another home game and maybe see if we can't make a long run and get past that dang third round, and see if we can't get to that state championship game.
That's what happens when you're just an idiot who's sitting around trying to get the motivation to do something, and you have a stupid idea pop in your head and you just do it. Just do it. Like I ran it by some of the Well Branch kids on Instagram. They said it was both hilarious and stupid, which was the answer that I was shooting for. And that they agreed that Coach Hatcher would get a good laugh out of it. So we rolled with it. But we're trying to have fun. And let you understand why we're so passionate about what we do, man, and why we love this thing so much. It's just the characters are just unreal, and
coaches, players,
Desmond really cool. And DeMonte's grandpa. Well, even Desmond and DeMonte Mathis's grandpa, like he's not affiliated with the team in any way, except that he's the number one fan and the extra coach in the stands. But like he is an incredible character that I would never intersect with if not for the specialness of Friday nights, and so it's super cool. But hey guys, we're gonna wrap it up a little short today so I can get on the road, and I think we have covered the week 5 slate in pretty good detail here. But we will name how about we name our player of the week? Who was your vote for player of the week last week, Wes?
I'm gonna
I'll give you some nominees if you need them.
I have an idea, but tell me who you're thinking of.
Well, who you got? I'll tell you what they did.
I was going to go with AJ Barger. Give some love to Hilton and Prep.
That's a solid choice. I can't argue with it. Marcus Walsh voted for Zion Dobson. Again, we've made a believer out of him. I think I got to give my vote to Antonio Banner. 16 for 251 and 5 touchdowns. He was 3 for 4 for 33 yards through a pick. 5 tackles, a tackle for a loss, and a sack. I got to go Antonio Banner. Jimmy, who was your player of the week last week?
Oh, it was V. Dobson. That's who I would pick. I like him, but I would give Buford, but not player, but Buford's defense. I would give the whole defense last week against May River.
Fair enough. And if you're going to do that, you'd probably have to zero in on Will Cotting, who had 7 solo tackles and a tackle for loss. He was a monster. That's a solid pick. Again, I apologize. These last couple of weeks have been insane. I haven't gotten everything done that I had intended to get done every week, but we're going to try to get back on track and region play because next week's another week, right? Like, it's all you can do. We did what we did this week. It's over. On to the next one. Last one's over. Next one matters. So we'll go on to the next one. But first, we'll shout out our Lowco Booster Club sponsors. And just $50 a month or $500 a year will get you into the Lowco Booster Club. So hit me up at locosports@gmail.com, LOWCO sports@gmail.com if you want to get in the game with us. We got Prime IV Hydration and Wellness now open in Belfair Town Village. Go see Max. Get a business meeting in. You can go sit in the recliners together and get your IV bags. And then if you need to get back to your body's roots, get your nervous system feeling right, go see my guy Ambrose at Rooted Living Wellness. He will give you a full scale chiropractic adjustment and really talk with you and consult with you about what is going wrong with your body and get you feeling right again. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country will get your floors feeling right. They'll get those floors so clean that your feet will thank you. They'll also clean your upholstery, your carpet. I heard Chris say this morning at BNI that he will clean your ceilings. Like, if you need your ceilings clean, I'm sure there's somebody out there. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. They got the floors and the ceilings covered. Eagle Creations, you need promotional items, business cards. You need some gear for your team, some swag. They can hook you up. They're over on Argent. They have a great showroom full of stuff they can do for you, including awards, plaques, you name it. So go check them out. Tell them Lowco sent you. And the Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Court, Low Country natives selling the Lowco lifestyle on HHI. So those are our Lowco Booster Club sponsors for now. Thank you, gentlemen, for riding along with us. Thanks to Sammy Dubs for jumping in for a little bit. Thanks to Coach Hatcher for being a good sport, hopefully. Next time I see him, he might want to fight me. We'll see. But that's going to do it for this episode. We'll see you tonight on Lowco Pigskin Live, 11:30 p.m. I'll be remote, but we're all remote every time, so what's it matter? It'll be a different background. That's the only thing. And we'll see you out there, and we'll let you know what all happened out there on Lowco Friday night. That does it for this time. Until next time, go Lowco.